listening to
A to the K.
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 A to the K. WrestleTalk podcast.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.
And now for This Week in Wrestling. So, Carl, do you want to kick us off with the Raw results?
Let's do it. So, the card for this week's Raw. So, we kick things off with a moment of bliss, Anthony, with special guest Randy Kenneth Orton, the second, twice removed. We then had a Symphony of Destruction match with Jeff Hardy taking on Elias, and the charismatic Enigma was the winner. Wait, no, sorry. No, it was Jeff Hardy. Yeah, sorry, Jeff Hardy won.
And don't you just love the way WWE, they really push the newer talent and the veterans, are there to help elevate the new guys?
Oh, yeah.
You just love that.
Defo.
Yeah. Thanks, Elias, for everything you do.
Then we had Ricochet taking on Slapjack, with Slapjack picking up the win, actually, surprisingly. So
Okay. About time.
Yeah.
Slapjack's the little one.
I don't know. He's the one with the mask.
Okay.
Wait, that doesn't really narrow it down. We then had a second talk show segment with Miz TV with special guest Sheamus.
No longer the Dare Cheat, because fuck John Morrison.
Exactly. Poor John Morrison, man. I was so happy when he came back, and then,
you're going to be a sidekick, and that's all you're going to be.
That is all you're going to be.
Get in the
van. All you'll ever be in WWE. Love it. We then got a tag match with Asuka and Lana taking on the tag champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, with Asuka and Lana picking up the win.
And finally, someone cares about Lana's well-being. Thanks, Asuka, for everything you do.
Finally. We then got Cedric Alexander taking on Xavier Woods for some reason, with Cedric picking up the win. We had a number one contender match for the TLC pay-per-view for Drew's title. We had Keith Lee taking on Riddle versus AJ Styles, with AJ picking up the win.
Interesting
Little matchup there. We had Dana Brooke taking on Reckoning, although it was pretty much Mia Yim, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
But yeah, Dana Brooke picked up the win. So yeah.
Super awkward.
And the main event of the evening was Miz and Morrison taking on Drew McIntyre and Sheamus.
Because why not?
And I've not put who got the win, but I'd be surprised it wasn't Drew and Sheamus. I'm pretty sure it was.
People got kicked.
People got kicked with Claymores and
Brogues everywhere.
Brogues, that's the one.
There's a shirt waiting to happen. Claymores and Brogues.
Claymores and Brogues.
That needs to be like a joke footwear placement.
Claymores.
Head on down to Claymores and Brogues.
I like it. Do you know what? I think we should just start putting fake commercials in our show, to be fair.
I like it.
Although the ones you will hear this week are not fake.
They're legit.
They are legit. So, highlights for Raw. I had a moment of bliss, Anthony, during a moment of bliss. And it was because we found the Fiend's weakness. And you have mentioned this before, so I'd love to get your hot take on it. But basically, we found out that Randy Orton is trying to play mind games with the Fiend, and Alexa is the pawn in this game.
You've just blew up the internet by saying Alexa and pawn together.
Oh, the searches.
The algorithm.
The sticky searches. But no, I think, me personally, I'm enjoying the dynamic quite a bit with Fiend and Alexa. But yeah, I don't know. You'd raised concerns before, I guess, of is this whole pairing going to ruin the Fiend? And obviously this was the first foray into some serious kind of character change for the Fiend almost. So yeah,
here's the thing, right? The more you know about a character, the less the mystery's there, the less fun it is, right? So like Kane, prime example. Right, the longer we had Kane, and the more they try and develop stories, and the more that they tweak and change things, and they go, oh, actually, he was a bit mental. He never even got burnt. What the fuck? And various bits and bobs like that. I will avoid Katie Vick, but the more they try and flesh it out, the more
Sorry.
the more the less enjoyable it is. And this is the bit that worries me. It's not so much the fact that the Fiend and Alexa Bliss have a dynamic. I think she's playing her sort of Bliss Fiend-ish character rather well, and she's joining his sort of world. What worries me is this kind of stuff. And let's face it, let's be honest, this didn't go well the first time Randy did this, when Randy was trying to hurt Bray and he got in with him and he was tag champs with him and ultimately burnt the Fun House down, or the Shack down, or whatever the fuck that was. And they tried that where Randy's he's just crazy enough, just cerebral enough to deal with the Fiend. I don't like the idea. I don't. And I'm hoping that they're deliberately paralleling what happened in the past, because they're not going to go down that road again. I'm hoping there's been enough creativity and enough self-awareness there that it's going to subvert my expectation, and it's not going to be the manipulation that they're making it out to be right now. But if they go down that line of she's his weakness and Randy's then got sort of a card to play, that's going to kind of, I don't know, don't think that's going to play out well for me.
Okay, interesting. See, I don't know. I quite like it. I like the Fiend, who's been this kind of indestructible thing, except for Goldberg. We now finally... sorry to bring
not Carl.
Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's quite refreshing, I think, especially as they're trying to make him into a face character, for him to have something which he has got compassion for, that you can kind of identify with and stuff. So I get why they're doing it. You know, obviously the Fiend as a character is fantastic. So does he need this? No. But are they doing a fantastic job? I think so. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes, shall we say, in terms of how Orton gets involved with Alexa, and, you know, how the Fiend kind of reacts to it all. So yeah, I thought it was a definite highlight for me that week.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not going to sour it like straight out the gate. I have concerns, but they don't have to go down that line. Do you know what I mean? Like, this story could evolve in a way that I really enjoy. This is very early doors, so I'm not gonna be too sour right now. I just, where they're leading me to believe they're heading worries me. But, you know, ever the pessimist. I will hold my breath until then.
Okay. Okay, the next highlight was Riddle for me.
Wow.
So, do you know
Sorry,
what?
I went all emotional on you.
Wow. Wow. But yeah, I don't know. I thought, you know, he was featured very prominently throughout the show, and, you know, it was silly shit, but at the same time, I don't know, I just thought it was really funny. And most of it was good. You know, there was a couple of bits which weren't, but the majority, I would say, was really good. And I don't know what it was. The bit that tickled me the most was the bit where he was like pitching ideas to MVP, and he was just like, "Oh, we could do this, we could do that," and like MVP shooting out, "Aw."
There's something that really tickles me about that. I think I mentioned it in last week's show, and he's like, "I'm not your bro," and he was like, "Aw."
Yeah.
Like, so wounded by it.
Exactly. And like for me, I think when you mentioned it last week, I must have just kind of missed it a little bit. But this week, I don't know whether it was the fact it was 2 hours or what, but I'm just like, oh.
I think it got a good reaction, so they're like, let's do that again. But yeah. I don't know. He's actually a better character on Raw. I don't know what they've done.
Well, I believe he was trending on Twitter and the like, you know, after these kind of segments and stuff. So, you know, he's definitely absolutely killing it, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought he was definitely a highlight of the show. Obviously, Lashley came out and attacked him. So I don't know. Maybe that's the next feud. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, if I'm honest. But yeah, I don't know. The whole kind of.
I mean, to be honest, like, I'm not sure how I feel about the feud, but I don't mind him having the title.
Oh God, yeah. I think if he gets the US title, I reckon that'll be big for him, because he's got you know, the characteristics there being that kind of guy. You know, like the US title isn't the IC title, let's be honest, but the IC title isn't the IC title anymore. But I could see Riddle.
The world title's not the world title. Like, and don't even get me started on what the fuck the Universal title is.
But yeah, I could get like Riddle being like the workhorse champion kind of thing, because you know, he can go in the ring, and you know, he's developing his character as someone who isn't just a stoner who kicks off his flip-flops, but being something
Yeah.
a little bit different as well. So
I think he's definitely fleshing his character out a bit better now. And to be honest, he's more fleshed out than some that have been on the roster for fucking years. So, why not? Give him a go.
true.
More fleshed out than Bobby Lashley, actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah, 100%. So yeah, definitely Riddle was a highlight this week. And lastly, my third and final highlight was the triple threat number one contender match. I just thought it was really solid. There was three super athletic dudes in there, but athletic in completely different ways. So I don't know, it just made for like a really interesting dynamic, I thought, to the match.
Yeah. No, because you get things like how does AJ deal with the likes of Keith Lee, who's got the clearly the size advantage and the power advantage on him, and you see them like sort of breaking out what excels them in a lot of ways, and it's one of the better matches I've seen for Keith Lee since he's in the main roster as well.
I mean, maybe for me, probably his best one, because it was, there was no weirdness to it. There was no kind of shenanigans.
I get what you're saying. Like, I was leaning towards best one, but I don't know. Like, I always feel like there was a decent match there between him and Drew, but like you say, there was a lot of shenanigans involved as well. So, like, somewhere in amongst all that shit, there was a good match in there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
might not have been in one actual match. It might have been over a few matches. There's one good match in there, but anyway, what was my point?
I think you were leaning towards AJ and Drew being a great match also because I mean,
I never thought about it, but I want it.
Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a size mismatch, but me, I'm a bit of a fan for these mirror matches from like Mortal Kombat days of as like for like as possible, but at the same time there is a time and a place for someone who is a underdog, not like in the Rey Mysterio Big Show kind of underdog levels, which we've spoken about before, but AJ clearly has a size disadvantage.
I mean, Drew's got the reach on him.
Just a bit.
Bear in mind, this is a man who likes to kick. How are you going to get him in there, the fucker?
Well, yeah, there is that. But obviously, AJ, can clearly combat that with the speed and with, his experience as well.
Oh yeah, he's a vet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes for a really interesting dynamic for a match, even though it's not one that I would see as a, again, a bit of insight for you all, folks. I'm trying to take up some art at the minute. I'm trying to draw some wrestlers, some art. And one of the series I want to do is like face-offs, and it's going to be the likes of Hogan, Andre. It's going to be the likes of, I want to cut that one apparently.
Them ones.
Brock and Austin, Brett and Shawn. I think I've got about 6 or 7 different ones. That I want to
in honor of our guest last week, you need to try Brett and Bulldog at some point as well.
Well, there you go. So I kind of want to capture, some of the best face-offs where like you look at two people facing off and be like, oh shit. So, this necessarily isn't necessarily one of those kind of face-off moments, but at the same time is one of the matches that you are still kind of really like, oh shit, I want to watch this. So yeah.
And this, look forward to it, guys. It's going to be called Carl's Art of Wrestling, and it's fantastic.
That's it, and you can watch it exclusively on the Cartoon Network. So they, Anthony, were the highlights of Raw this week. In terms of the Oshites, so I've got to start off with the Symphony of Destruction match. See, when they did it a while ago on SmackDown, it was fun, it was entertaining. I think I gave it a good rating. This one was just kind of like, well, we did that once, let's do it again. And yeah.
This is the pettiest gripe I've got, right? So apologies, right? Because suspension of disbelief and all that bollocks, right? And I could be wrong, right? If there's any sound engineers listening, right, please indulge me. Because what electrocuted Elias, I'm fairly certain shouldn't have electrocuted Elias. Like, I don't know.
Electricity.
Well, he essentially pierced the speaker itself with the guitar stick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The actual amp and all the elements is like that's the speaker. The speaker's wired into that. The current running through that, as far as I'm aware, shouldn't have actually like done the damage that allegedly it did. And yes, that is massively petty. But I'm like, I was watching it like that was an unnecessarily big electrocution.
Is wood a conductor of electricity?
There's that too, Carl. Like let's be honest. There's that too. But it's a show. It's fake, apparently. Sorry, fake's not the right word. That's a trigger word.
Oh.
It's scripted, but
That's also a trigger word. It's
That's my trigger word.
still
But
real
no,
to me, damn it. Sorry.
But yeah, I don't know. I was a bit. I don't know. I don't know why, but I was a bit aggrieved by like, should that have done that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, was that an unnecessary explosion?
Well, that's it. I don't know. I thought the match type didn't need to be brought back, especially for a feud which is pretty much dead already. Like, let's be honest, it's built on nothing. We already know that he didn't run him over with the car in the first place. Like, it's
Like, they need a no one cares match. That's what they need.
yeah.
But and plus the like, is it just anytime Elias is involved? Was it Elias? Yeah, it was Elias. Anytime Elias is involved, it's going to include music as the gimmick somehow.
I mean,
You
maybe
get it? He plays guitar.
that's it. That is his only discernible feature. So anytime
But,
he appears,
I know
music will
I
be
know they've
involved.
kind of built it around his character, but it's not like we see Xavier Woods coming out every week with joypads in his hand. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. No, I get it. But do you know what else annoyed me about this match, Anthony?
Go on.
And I've not seen this like spoken about as much as the whole AEW incident, but Jeff Hardy fucked up and he
Yeah,
took a swanton.
yeah.
It was meant to be through some sort of instruments or something, and he twatted his head on the steel steps, and he did, and it wasn't a fake. He hurt his head and his neck, and you could clearly see he was somewhat concussed or he was out of it or something. And he carried on, won the match. Luckily, that was the end spot. So, okay, fair dues. AEW, when it happened with Matt Hardy, that wasn't meant to be the end spot, and they carried on a little bit, so I get that. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like there's been no outcry. There's been no like rage about this, and yeah, I don't know.
That's
What do you
why
thought?
though. I think this is typically what it's about, isn't it? WWE, they're a big company. They are probably more on the ball when it comes to like the medical assistance and that sort of thing. But a lot of people they hate on the AEW is the same as WWE in every sense when they want to hate on them, if you know what I mean. So it's like, oh, they should know better than that. It's like they're a year old, they're a year and a half old now, let's say. However, how old are they now? Let's go with a year and a half, right?
Here in a bit.
It's it's not been around that long. WWE's been around for fucking years, decades, right? And they compare them the same when it comes to giving them shit about like how the procedures work and all that sort of stuff. And I think they're doing really well for such an infant company, to be honest. But then, like when WWE fuck up, all you get is sort of justification. Like if you go looking for a car, you'll probably find people being like, "Oh yeah," but they didn't leave him to it. They had people checking on him, and they had this, and then he was taken to like a 4-star hospital after that on Vince's dime because Vince is all this bollocks.
Yeah.
And it's like, they'll justify it whatever way they want to, but it's the same people who are like, "Oh yeah, if AEW really had the guts, they go on Monday nights or Friday night, like they've got the power to control that." TNT might have a say in that, and it's like, why? Like, because everyone, like, I'm slightly digressing, but I read a thing the other day that kind of bugged me because it was like, oh yeah, the challenge in a developmental promotion. It's like, but the NXT are more established than AEW. You can't call them a developmental promotion when it comes to comparing with AEW. They're both
That is
so
what
young.
is funny to me is that people call AEW out as like, well, why aren't they challenging on Mondays or Fridays? AEW came out and said we're going to do our own thing on a Wednesday. Sound. It was NXT were like, well, we're going to go to network and we're going to challenge you at the same time. It was like, hang on.
Yeah.
So people are like taking the like shitting all over.
I think people tend to really ignore WWE shots, and WWE take shots that I think are a little bit more subtle. So maybe that's why people ignore them. But come on, they definitely did bash at the beach deliberately, not bash at the Great American Bash deliberately.
Yeah.
Like they rushed that out so much, and I've mentioned it before. They rushed out so much and had the old WWE logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's they are massively petty, and I think that's the right comparison. They should be competing with NXT. NXT are they want to be legitimized as their own promotion, still developmental territory in a sense, but they are still their own show. They're still televised, so they should become under the same scrutiny. And they're more established. They've had more history than AEW, so they should be trouncing them by all accounts.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I think the crazy thing is, if they ever did go, do you know what? We're going to go up on a Monday against Raw. I think they do all right. Like, they wouldn't.
I think they do
winning.
better than people think.
They
The
wouldn't
thing
be
is,
winning.
people will. No, I mean they struggle to win because Raw is an institution at this point. Raw on Monday nights. How long have we had Raw on Monday night, Carl? How long?
Since 1993. One.
I don't know.
One of them.
But for a long, long time, like people are just used to it. Some people tune in just for the sake of tuning in. Even people who hate the show still watch it in a way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you know, there could be an argument for going, well, you know, they are the new WCW, but on TNT. You know, it's like that old days, so they should compete with Raw. But it's like they're a year and a half old, guys.
Yeah.
It's not the same. They haven't even got a fully fleshed out women's roster, and they acknowledge that they've got issues in that department. So why not get themselves like totally ironed out and totally on point before they start competing with the bigger fish? They're not stupid.
The thing that is like ironic as well, I think they would do better numbers than what TNA did when they decided, you know what, we're going to go up on Monday nights as well. When they had Hogan, when they had all these guys come back. I think AEW would pull a bigger number, but they would still be trounced in the ratings on a Monday because, as you said, like Raw is an institution. It is a well-known weekly thing, and it's like people.
Bear in mind, like SmackDown's moved around a little bit over its time. Raw hasn't. No. Raw's been on Monday night for decades.
Yeah,
they're going to be they would be a titan to try and take down, and I've no doubt about that. No matter how bad Raw can be, some weeks they're a behemoth.
Yeah. So
what are we talking about? So
I don't know how we got here, but
let me try and bring this back around. So we were talking about ratings. So Jeff hurt his head. Yeah, that's how we got here.
So I don't know. He twatted his head, and he didn't get as much flack for it as Matt did. Who did the same thing pretty much. So
agreed.
Yeah, I don't know, bias. Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, it was very silly and. You know, luckily.
And let's not forget that SmackDown were petty enough to have a shot at the whole Matt spot, as you might recall.
Yeah.
When they sent Jeff to the back and he was just dehydrated.
Yeah, that was it.
So, he's laughing now.
Yeah.
Not that I want any damage to Jeff, you know. No, genuinely, like.
You? Okay.
No, you don't, like, I don't want to see the man head. And it was a bit of a bad spot, that one.
It wasn't good. And then this one is just a small footnote, but I kind of said it at the when I gave the rundown of the card. Do we really need 2 talk shows?
I think we've complained about this before, because haven't we had like a KO show and a Miz TV or a KO show and a Moments of Bliss and so on? I think we've had this complaint before, and this is 3-hour syndrome. This
it is.
They've got nothing for it.
Nope. And I feel like talk shows anyway should not be a regular weekly occurrence on a wrestling show, and if it's going to happen, you know, like the highlight reel or the Kevin Owens show, whatever, it used to happen as a one-off thing, sound. But
I think KO's got it right, you know.
You
don't see KO all the time. You get the odd KO show. Sometimes a bit more frequently than others, but not consistently. Like, and it kind of reminds me of kind of echoes of the days when you had like Jericho. What did he call his show?
Highlight reel.
Highlight reel. Sorry, I was thinking of the Jerotron, so I couldn't lose Jerotron.
Jerotron 3000.
And like they were sporadic and as he needed them and as he wanted to do a skit with them. Whereas like certain things like Miz TV, I think is probably the worst for it, or the Dirt Sheets, whatever iteration you want to call it, where they're consistently on with no real motive. Like they were getting to a point on SmackDown, it's like why are we even here? Why are we even talking to these people? But here we are. Talk shows, stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think, you know, fine. Piper and Piper's Pit was cool back in the day, and you have had some success with others doing talk shows, but to just give everybody one at the minute, I don't know, seems silly.
And you get a talk show. And you get a talk show.
Ironically, that probably is what happened to Oprah. You can have a talk show.
And up next, a moment of retribution.
Just Ali going, we're gonna fuck with your lights.
We meant to lose. What?
Hang on. Shut up, Mom. Anyway. And then I want to talk about Dana Brooke.
Okay.
So during the whole slapjack match, she showed up and was like, I'm going to hit you in the face, slapjack. And Ali's like, okay. Oh, no, sorry. She hits Ali in the face. And Ali's like, okay.
How interchangeable retribution.
Well, exactly. One of them hits
you
one
hit
of them
retribution in the face.
And basically now she wants reckoning because of the attack that happened the week prior. So, okay, she's now going to get the match later in the night. And after about 10 seconds, Reckoning's mask falls off. I don't think it was planned. Was it planned?
If
I don't
it
think so.
wasn't planned, I'll give Ali his credit for trying to work with what happened.
Yeah. But even then, even if it was planned, so it was either planned and it was really poorly executed, or it wasn't planned and Ali did a good job. I haven't decided which. But basically, a mask comes off, and so, Ali's like, well, okay, you're letting us down. Like, you shouldn't be unmasked. And, he then gets in her face after she loses the match. And I don't know. I just thought
And
the
then
whole thing was
Keith
a
Lee
fail.
comes out.
That's my woman. I love me some reckoning.
Yeah. So it was an odd one, this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know why it bugs me, but it still bugs me that like we can get so up in arms about what happened last week with Dana, and yet like Paul Anna's been getting like smashed through tables for like well over a month, and no one cares. Like no one cares. Not even the good guys care.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird.
I know I would care about Lana getting smashed. You know what I mean? I would care about that. I would.
Damn.
Yeah. Anyway. And then the final low shite, Anthony, was the main event. It wasn't terrible, and I see what you're trying to do, and it made sense.
Wait, wasn't this in your highlights?
No, it wasn't. So basically, the main event was obviously the tag match, and prior to this,
Shit.
AJ.
I forgot about the tag match.
The tag
Assume
match.
the triple threat was the main event.
No, so they unfortunately it was a tag match, and prior to this, AJ and Miz were like, okay, well, do you know what? I prefer to fight you, Miz. And Miz was like, oh, wait, what? And then Miz was like, well, no, I mean, you'll be the champion. It's like, oh, okay, and yeah, so all that kind of shit happens, and then yeah, I don't know.
Solid Cameron Grimes impression there, by the way.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I think they tried to do some undertones of Sheamus and Drew, which I've obviously been calling for ages, and that didn't really work. And then the cash-in that they tried to execute was just clumsy, and I don't know. There was no, like, it was ages. Like, Miz was like, cash in. About 10 seconds passed, the bell hadn't rung, and then he still hadn't cashed in. And it was like, well, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. I thought the whole thing was poorly executed. So, yeah. Although, even though it's a no shite, Anthony, I've got to say I had a chuckle at the way Omos got AJ out the ring. It's like a little fucking baby. He just picked him up, put him over his shoulder, and then AJ's like, "Oh, you lucky he's holding me back." It was so stupid, but at the same time, I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the whole main event made no sense. It was just unnecessary. It was all set up for this weird cash-in that didn't make any sense because it was executed super poorly and wasn't really a cash-in anyway. And yeah, that was the show, Anthony.
Yeah, shenanigans, overly produced shenanigans.
So this may seem harsh, but
It does.
For me, it's fair. I'm going to give it a 1.
I get where you're coming from. I don't think I can be that mean. I've seen worse Raws, so I'm going to give it a 2.
That's it. A whole point higher?
A whole point higher.
Shit.
Wasn't that bad? It was alright.
Based on what?
Stuff.
There's no stuff.
That happened.
The Symphony of Destruction.
Riddle's,
Slapjack.
Oh, Riddle's character work, decent.
Yeah.
The main event, whilst not great, was okay. The triple threat was really damn good. The stuff they're doing with Bliss and Bray was actually good, although I'm a little bit worried about the future of it. All in all, I'll give that a 2. That merits a 2.
You crazy bastard. Okay. Gets a 1 from me.
Fine. Fine.
So, speaking of shit shows, NXT, Anthony?
Okay. So, NXT, Carl. We opened the night with a loving tribute to Pat Patterson. So, obviously, we mentioned it earlier in the news. So, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was done on Raw.
No, it wasn't on Raw. It was on SmackDown.
I didn't think they got one. They did do one on SmackDown
as well, excuse me. I just saw a tribute to Pat. I was like, why the fuck are they doing a tribute to Pat McAfee? Pat McAfee?
Yeah, sorry, I probably should have, fully wrote me sentences. But oh well. Yeah, so they done like a bit of a tribute to Pat Patterson at the beginning of the night, which was a nice touching tribute. I thought they did a good job there. First match of the night was actually Damian Priest and Leon Ruff tag teaming against Mendoza and Escobar, or Legado del Fantasma, as they're called, with Priest and Ruff taking the win. We saw a chap named August Gray going up against Cameron Grimes. I'll let you decide who won that one. Cameron Grimes, obviously. Who's the other guy? Fuck knows. We saw Jake Atlas going up against Tony. Is it Nese?
Tony Nese.
With Jake Atlas taking the win. We had a promo from McCaff and Friends, which we'll talk about a little bit more as we go on. We then had a tag match with the Grizzled Young Vets taking on Imperium, which ended in a DQ. It had potential, not too sure about the ending. And we closed the night out with Shotzi Blackheart going up against Raquel Gonzalez in a ladder match with one of them War Games stipulations on the line. So a nice briefcase at the top of the ladder. And we saw Shotzi Blackheart take the win, which was interesting to say the least. Now, as far as highlights go, Carl, do you know what? I've expressed concerns with the way they're booking the NA title at the minute and the way they're booking Ruff as like a part player or an afterthought in his own title defense. And I still stand by that. However, the tag match was actually quite enjoyable. More so than I expected it to be, given the participants. It worked quite well. There was a lot of energy in the ring. It was actually quite engaging to open the night, and that surprised me because I'm not a fan of Priest either. There you go. Don't know how you feel about that, Carl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same. I mean, I can't add anything. I don't think. I mean, I'm not a fan of Priest, and yeah, I think Ruff, since he won the belt, I don't know. It's not felt like he's the champion, has he?
No, this is some of the issue I have with it, mate, and we will talk about that a bit more when we talk about Takeover. But yeah, it was a gimmick more than anything. He won to be a gimmick. He's a prop in someone else's feud, which is sad, really. I think he deserves better than that. The other highlight, and the only other highlight, was the main event. Really good ladder match. Couple of slight botches. I know there's a botched DDT in there or whichever. Shotzi, to be honest, she's very good in the ring. I don't want to disrespect her, and certainly since we've started watching, she's improved so much. By the howling all the time, but she takes some risky spots, and we've seen her cock up a few times over a few different matches. That it's like, I don't know. I'm always a fan of like you have to be sure you can do something consistently before you take it on as a move. Do you know what I mean? Look at Brock trying to do the shooting star press. That'll forever haunt my nightmares. So I always think if you're not sure about it, you shouldn't try and land it. Do you know what I mean? And there's been a few times like I can try to remember what the move was now, but I remember at Halloween Havoc she done a thing and nearly slipped off the ropes and fucking hurt herself badly. And it's like just needs. I don't know. It just worries me sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel almost bad now. The first time I saw her being like, she's just some fucking creative wrestler that's come out, and then weeks later she comes out in a little mini tank, and I'm like, I'm sure I saw that on SmackDown versus Raw at some point. I've been quite critical, I think, but you know what, she has, and I hold my hands up. She has impressed me a lot over the coming, over the past few kind of months or so. So. Definitely. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. She has been, sometimes it's been horrible to watch just because you've seen her do stuff and you're just like, oh, shit, you shouldn't have done that. You're almost cringing.
But see, this is the thing. It never should be a move where you're like, oh, fuck, that you shouldn't. Oh, wow, that was worrying. It should be something where you're like, how the fuck did they do that? Where you're not worried that they almost killed themselves. And I think that's probably the line at the minute, that sometimes she'll go for something and I don't think she should. But that again, it's refining herself in the ring a little bit more, and I might get a bit of heat on that because she's not only ever been in WWE. She's not green, despite her hair. She's she come from the Indies, didn't she? So she has a lot of experience in the ring. I just think she needs to I don't know, maybe adjust her repertoire a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to feel nervous watching a match. Is all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
And you get people like Finn Balor who has like a fairly normal heavy hitting match and breaks his jaw. Like she's hitting some crazy shit, and you're like, how the fuck did she survive? So I don't know. It's weird. But all in all, the main event was actually really good. It was a really good match. I thought she really held her own against Gonzalez, considering the size difference and the power difference. And yeah, a thoroughly enjoyable match. And obviously, shenanigans again. We had that typical thing, and I wonder if this bugs you actually, because it was that typical thing of like all the women suddenly end up there at the end of the night because we're going to have a big old women's War Games match. So obviously everyone has to come out and tease it. I know that's a little bit of a trope at this point, but I don't know. I think it all landed well enough.
Yeah, it was fine. I think it bothers me more when like everyone gets a ladder out and they're all stood next to each other on the ladder and they're just like looking at each other like, we're going to climb this. I can show we climb this. And it's like, okay, well done.
It was weird. As for the O'Shite, Carl, Cameron Grimes. He essentially had a squash match here. And the reason he's in the O'Shite is because he's petrified of Loomis. They've been booking it like he's petrified of Loomis. That's the whole point in the strap match. He can't get away from Loomis, you know? So what good is a squash? I find a squash totally ineffective when he's clearly and obviously shit scared of his opponent. So, like, yeah, you can squash this fella. That's brilliant. Is it changed? Does it make me think he stands a chance at TakeOver? No. You know, does it legitimize him going into a match with Loomis? No, because after that, he acts shit scared of Loomis. So, I don't know. I feel like it was just an unnecessary squash. Like, it did nothing for the guy who even... I can't even remember the guy's name. I have to go back in my notes to remember who this guy was. That's how insignificant this was to me. August Gray. Sorry, August. But this did nothing for August. And I don't know. Like, what does this do? Because this hasn't helped me hype the match. I know who's going to win. I haven't watched TakeOver yet until we get to the TakeOver review. I haven't watched TakeOver yet, Carl. And I can tell you who won. It was Loomis. So I thought it was unnecessary. And this is that typical thing WWE do where it's like, well, we have to put them on the screen. Because if he's not on the screen this week, then when it comes to TakeOver, you might be like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, it's okay to not have him there one week if you've nothing for him. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, WWE. We can remember. And last one for me was the tag match shenanigans between the Grizzled Young Vets and Imperium and Everrise and every fucker else. I don't know. I think we were on to maybe potentially a good match, but then we had all these shenanigans where Everrise meant to have the match and then they were attacked. So then they didn't have the match, but then they interrupt the match and then ultimately it leads to a DQ because they interrupted the match. And I'm like, and it's that typical thing of like, a DQ, wow. WWE don't do them very often. But I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I feel like they kind of ruined what was potentially a reasonably good match. And I was kind of hyped to see the Grizzled Young Vets back in NXT, especially because I feel like the tag division hasn't really been that solid at the minute. Like, and this sounds like a weird statement because if you look at it, you look at the tag teams and you go, well, we've got Strong and Fish, we've got Imperium, we've got Everrise, we've got Breezango, we've got Oney Lorcan and Danny Birch, we've got the Grizzled Young Vets now. So there's a few tag teams, but do you ever really, like, does anyone ever, when they're not on screen, do you remember Imperium or Everrise? No. Breezango are quite entertaining. Lorcan and Birch are legit, to be fair. You know, and it just felt like it needed a bit of a punch in the arm, so I was happy to see them back, but there's just way too overproduced, way too many shenanigans going on for that match, I think.
Fair.
And that's it for me, O'Shite, Carl, unless you have any other notes.
The rest of the show.
Cool. But in a similar vein to Raw, Carl, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great. I'm going to give it a 2.
Well, Anthony, similar to what you did to me on Raw, but in reverse. I'm going to give this show... Nah, I can't give it a 1. 1.5, I think. I thought the Shotzi Raquel main event was
particularly good.
The big standout. And I thought, I don't know, like, the rest of the card was fine. It didn't feel like a go-home show to a pay-per-view.
No.
Is my big kind of...
Other than, again, Shotzi and Gonzalez probably held that up a little bit by saying, like, this match is for a stipulation at War Games. So... yeah, that kind of held that up a little bit. There you go. This is heading towards War Games, so that was kind of a go-home show thing to do.
I think as well,
not so much.
If you knew who Pat McAfee was, you'd be like really into it. But I have no idea who the fuck the guy is, so straight away I'm just a bit like.
To be fair, yeah, because they've become a fairly big thing, and we'll talk about them at Takeover as to whether that remains. But they've become a fairly big thing, and like their promos this week were decent, to be fair, and it helps sell things going forward. But I think, yeah, like you say, I think you really have to be into Pat McAfee. Like, he's good, he is very good, but like I think people are really awestruck over the fact that he's not a wrestler. Don't get me wrong, I was impressed with the fact that he's not a wrestler and he's coming in doing this stuff and he can hit a promo awesome and he's got some decent chops in the ring. But I think you'd probably appreciate that more if you followed his background in football. I don't know. But it might be a little bit lost on us in all fairness. You're quite right.
That's it. Like, for me, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I'm sure loads of people who like know who he is are like super pumped. Whereas I'm like, this guy, for someone who's outside the business, can cut a good promo and is surprisingly decent in the ring. But I imagine it'd be like elevated to a new level if you actually knew who the fuck he was.
I'll take your points. So you're not super pumped. You're just pumped. Yeah. But yeah, so that was NXT, Carl. Take it away.
This week's AEW Dynamite.
And
Winter
oh my god,
is coming. Oh my god, indeed. So,
fuck. So
the
many
card,
things.
the
So many
advertised card was, we had the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, which, as you know now from this being the second Battle Royal, it's the final two competitors go on to face each other the next week for the Dynamite ring. And we came down to MJF, who potentially is going to retain, taking on Orange Cassidy. Which I'm surprised about.
Retain, or is it for the same ring, or do you win a different ring?
So it is a second ring, but him being the winner of the previous years.
I'm just checking because I didn't know if he was going to end up with two rings potentially, or whether he just keeps that one.
No, I think he could get two rings, but yeah, I don't know. I was surprised, not disappointed or upset, but I was surprised to see Orange Cassidy being the other one. I thought it was going to be Sammy, like I said that last week.
I mean, that was kind of leading that. Like, Sammy doesn't like him, and that rivalry was kind of setting itself up. So it is quite surprising.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're going to give Cassidy this, aren't they?
Well, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I think it was a nice swerve either way. Got to see Chris Jericho take on Kazarian for the first time ever. It was a big deal. It's a bit meh, to be honest, but Jericho won, as expected.
As expected.
We got Britt Baker taking on Layla Hirsch, and Britt Baker picked up the win, although we got to see Abe Thunder Rosa come and lay the gauntlet down to Britt.
I'm right.
It was good. And then we got to see Cody and Darby Allin.
So it's Cody with his bay.
Cody and his bay take on Powerhouse Hobbs, as he's now known, and Ricky Starks.
And Ricky Starks.
But yeah, Cody and Darby won the match. But some stuff happened, which we'll come on to as well. Some big stuff. Pretty big stuff. And the main event, Anthony, the AEW title was on the line. And it was the much anticipated match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega.
And did some pretty big stuff happen, Carl?
Some pretty big stuff happened there as well.
Yeah, it did.
Kenny Omega is our new champion. Whether you like to clean it or not.
I was so up and down on this, but you know what? That was the right fucking choice.
Whether you like the cleaner or not, there's some good stuff to talk about in this. He cleaned up. So, in terms of the highlights...
What a Dan. There's no way this wasn't fucking awesome, right?
what?
We need to talk about some of the hate this has been getting when we get to it. I'll let you do the unveiling of what happened first, but...
Do you know what? I am keen to see whether this might be the Dynamite you outscore me on.
Oh, I'm intrigued now.
But yeah, so like for me, it was fantastic. But I don't know, the way you're talking about it makes me think you are potentially going to outscore me based on the score I've given it. But
okay,
the highlights. So the Battle Royal. Do you know, I am more of a fan of a Royal Rumble style Battle Royal. You know, again, hats off to Pat Patterson for that kind of concept. But I think when you start off with everybody in the ring at once, it can get a bit messy. Again, AEW did a fantastic job of not making it seem too messy to the point where it was like hard to follow. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of where everyone starts out at once. But that's just
I get that.
My kind of thing.
I think it gives you a better measure of control when like a Royal Rumble style when they all come in.
Yeah.
Like you say, everyone's suddenly in the ring.
Yeah. But you know what, though? I don't want to shit on it. Like, it's a highlight, and it's a highlight for a reason, because even though this isn't my kind of favourite type of Battle Royal match, I felt like they did a fantastic job of just executing all the little stories. And this is something which I will go on record as saying AEW is better than WWE is building stories between
Yes.
people and like having it be something that lasts more than a week. And
I think some of that is down to they have the Vinnie Mac obstacle in WWE,
Yeah.
so I won't discredit the writing completely. Sometimes it's just fucking torn up whether they wanted to
Yeah,
or not.
I think it comes back to like people, they think we can't remember who wrestlers are because we're so casual. So like even that is like, they have to tell us who they are at every like opportunity. So like trying to remember a storyline or like what's happened is like a no-go. So I think that's the main problem with it. But
Yeah,
I think in AEW's kind of, it's one of their strengths, I would say. And
I would agree.
in a battle royal like this, it was really on display because there was so many little mini battles that happened, or like little stories. So you had, Hangman and the Dark Order, kind of that whole thing going on. Hangman after his loss to Kenny Omega, and obviously the tag team fallout. He's been kind of directionless, and Dark Order have been trying to pursue him for a while. There was a few spots in there where he kind of was going to be eliminated, but they saved him, put him back in. They're doing everything they can to recruit him, which is very, characteristic of the Dark Order. Yeah. And then there was a weird segment in there with Matt Hardy getting involved as well. So maybe we're going to get to see Matt Hardy and Hangman, which again sets up something new. We had the whole MJF and Sammy Guevara stuff happening, which I've obviously spoken about at length of where I thought it was going to go. And we got to see that again a little bit later on the night as well. So yeah, great storytelling there. We had Sean Spears and Scorpio Sky. All that kind of stuff's been going on for a while as well. We had just loads of stuff happening, I guess, to try and follow along with. For me, the match, regardless of how it was executed, whether it was a Royal Rumble style or Battle Royal style, it was awesome. I love Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara's stuff. Them two stole the show, in my opinion. Like the amount of stuff they could do to make that so compelling in a Rumble style match was phenomenal. There were so many things they did on the outside, on the apron, on the top. It was just so good. And yeah, I think I said before, like I didn't expect it to go MJF and Orange Cassidy. I thought it'd be Sammy and MJF, but do you know what? I'm excited. It was a surprise, and I'm keen to see where it's going to go.
It was a surprise. Like I'm not pissed off about it. It's not where I think either of us thought it was going to go, definitely. But yeah, it still work. It'll still be a good match.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose it kind of makes sense as well because obviously Cassidy and the stuff he's had with Jericho, so then it might turn into like, well, Cassidy beat Jericho, but if MJF beats Cassidy, then does that make MJF better than Jericho? And there's a lot of stuff happening, which is, I think that's why I love AEW so much, really, is because it's like Lost or it's like Game of Thrones. There's so many little subplots, and I'm trying to tie it all together. So
I love it.
Like
where's the hatch come from? Who's in the hatch?
What do the numbers mean during the Dark Order? Right, okay. So yeah, that was my first highlight. The next one I've got as a highlight, but not for the reasons you might think. So Jericho Kaz. The match itself, I thought, was pointless, and I thought it was Jericho's worst match he's had since he's been in AEW. And that is very harsh of me to say, but I thought he looked out of shape. He looked tired. He looked like it didn't really work. Kazarian,
I don't know what Jericho's going through at the minute, but he's definitely like, I don't know. I don't want to be unfair. Like I shouldn't speculate on stuff like this, I suppose, but like, is he struggling like during the COVID times at the minute, and it's starting to get to him? Because I feel like he's kind of losing his shit mentally a little bit as well.
Oh really?
Not in like a major way, but when you look at some of the stuff he's done recently, like when he just went on a bit of a rant on Twitter about like the votes being corrupt and it's never happened before in history, and it's like it happened in 2001, Jericho, and stuff like that, and you're like, I don't know, like it just like you say, and he's kind of. A lot of people are mocking like how out of shape he is at the minute. He's never been like that. He's always put his all into wrestling. I don't know. He just doesn't seem in the right headspace at the minute for me.
No, something seems off. You
mentioned not too long back. I want to say about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe, when he was on commentary and he was just reading from the teleprompter and he didn't have the same charisma he normally has.
He was bad,
Exactly, and it's just things like that. That's not Jericho.
No,
I don't know what's going on.
I think in terms of like his physical appearance, I think. When he went to Japan, he made a conscious effort to bulk up and try and be like a bigger, stronger kind of heel character. I feel like since that happened, he's maybe struggled to get back to where he was. And, you know, as someone who was thin and athletic once, who's now a fat bastard, I get where he's coming from, to be fair. It's harder to get rid of than...
as any normal bloke his age, it's still, like, it's a fairly decent physique, but he'll take more stick. He'll take more stick for being a wrestler on screen with other wrestlers who are younger and more in shape, sadly.
Yeah.
But, and he is taking some stick at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. But for me, it wasn't even about his physique or anything like that. It was just, I don't know, he didn't really seem arsed, which was
but I think
weird.
he's just not himself.
And for me, I don't feel I saw the point in Jericho Kaz as a match, except for the setup, which is why this is a highlight. So the match itself, if I was scoring it without the subsequent stuff that happened, would have been a no-shite. Absolutely. But I felt it wasn't fair to score it at that, because the whole match took place because basically MJF came out towards the end and he was going to throw the towel in again, just like what he did to Cody. And obviously, again, character work, development, storytelling.
Yes. And we remember that. See that?
We do. Exactly. We remember it. So MJF came out with Wardlow and he was like, I'm going to have to throw the towel in. And Sammy Guevara comes out like, what the fuck are you doing? And like those guys have like a big hole to do on the outside. And luckily Jericho ends up going on to win the match. So Jericho's like, you know what? I've had it with this shit. I'm setting an ultimatum now. Either we all get on the same page, or Inner Circle is done. I'm disbanding it all together. So a big ultimatum is set for next week, and you've also got the whole MJF and Guevara stuff like super boiling over. So that for me outshone the match, but the match quality was poor, which was a massive shame.
It is, and hopefully it doesn't sort of stay that way. But I think whatever mindset Jericho's in at the minute, you say like this is a man who constantly, regularly puts us all into everything he does, and it seems like wrestling wise, I don't know, like it's that whole thing, like he can't be asked. Like that's what it felt like on commentary the other week.
Yeah,
just generally we're getting that kind of vibe, and I don't know what it is.
No. It's so out of character for him that I'm surprised. But yeah, so another highlight though, we got Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa just beating the shit out of each other. So, do you know what? I think ahead of this match, which it wasn't a great match. I'll be honest, it wasn't a great match. It was Britt Baker versus Layla Hirsch, and it was okay. It was nothing special. There was a goal of botches. It was average. Like
thoroughfare. Don't want to be too harsh.
But ahead of the match, Britt Baker set up a pretty good promo. She's fantastic on the mic, and that's where she excels. She's no slouch in the ring. Don't get me wrong, but her promo and stuff are
definitely on point.
Definitely the one. But I think the fact that Thunder came out and took it to Britt, got revenge, and I don't know. This is massive for Britt. Like Britt Baker has never had this level of competition before.
It's a thing.
No one the level of Thunder Rosa, and this is going to be huge for her.
We see this is what I've consistently give Thunder credit for, especially with the stuff she's done in AEW, is that she not only looks awesome in the ring, and not only is like a future legend, she helps elevate other people. Do you know what I mean? Her match with Shida, as good as Shida was, and she was the champ, it helped elevate Shida, brought Shida to that level with it. Do you know what I mean? And I have no doubt it's going to do the same for Britt. This is going to be a hell of a match between the two of them.
Yeah, defo. I can't wait. Really can't wait. And I think that, again, that speaks volumes to the booking, because, Britt Baker, the first time we saw her, it was like she was a face, and it was like, she's not really that good, blah, blah, blah. And then, you fast forward a year, she's probably one of the best heels in AEW, not in the business, but in AEW for sure. And, she's no slouch in the ring, and, charisma-wise, she's definitely up there. So, yeah, I am thoroughly looking. I mean, anytime we get to see Thunder Rosa, it's a good time. But for her to be bringing Britt on the ride, and we get to see that all play out, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Exactly. And the more we can get of Thunder in AEW, I sincerely hope she becomes All Elite at some point. But
yeah, fingers crossed.
Because I think they'll let her carry on doing her own thing. She's obviously got a big passion for Mission Pro, obviously. And I think they'll let her carry on with that, even if she does sign to AEW. So, and it's all speculation. She's still got, another year or so in NWA. But
well, that's it. She's contracted, isn't she? So, let's see what happens. But, I think she's back on NWA TV tonight as we're recording this. So, she's definitely NWA talent. They've obviously got some sort of relationship that...
Wow, I'm behind the times. Is NWA televising again?
Yeah, so it's not NWA Power, it's now NWA Shockwave. They're back for their first episode tonight. With Thunder Rosa taking on Priscilla Kelly, I think. They are back, and obviously Thunder is under contract. So, I think it's good that we get to see her on AEW, but let's see what happens when NWA contract winds down. Will she go to AEW, WWE, something else entirely? Who knows?
I don't know. Speculation.
But anyway, Anthony, to quote Tony Schiavone, it's Sting! Sting?
What?
Sting?
I know, right?
I can't remember because, again, I've slept since, but I think you may have brought this up a while ago as a possible speculation. And I was like, nah.
If you recall, it was way back when he let his contract expire with WWE, but they still had some ability to sell merch for X amount of time. And the speculation in the article was the fact that they've pulled all the Sting merch off the WWE shop website. And that was where we led to from that. But, it was one of them where it's like, you never know. But we actually fucking saw it.
We saw it, man. And do you know what? It was so much better than his WWE debut. It was so much better.
See, and it was so subtly played out. That's all it needed. Just turn up, let people soak it in. That's all you fucking needed.
Yeah. I think the whole thing with Triple H and that kind of thing in WWE was a bit like, I don't know, it was a bit convoluted. It didn't really make that much sense. And he came out and he was cutting promos, whatever. For AEW, it was out of nowhere. There was no build. He came out. He went to all 4 generations and just stared them down in the ring. Didn't do anything. He had his back with him. He didn't have to chase anyone off or get physical.
Volumes without saying a word.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was just I think, there's a shot floating around the internet where he's just on the stage, the fake snow is falling, and he's just up there just looking like a fucking badass. And it's they've done more for Sting's character at 62 years old than WWE has ever done for him. So,
crazy,
great to see him back on TNT for the first.
And that's the thing. So many people were hyped that he was back on TNT as well, because you forget that. Nitro, TNT. That's
and it's funny because I was listening to Jim Cornette's podcast before, and you know what Jim Cornette's like. you know what Jim Cornette's like. He wasn't exactly the most praising, if you will, of Sting's debut, but it's just I don't know. For me, there's nothing you can't say anything bad about it. It was out of nowhere. It was shocking. It wasn't over the top. It was enough. It was a debut. It was a shock. And we're just oh my God, Sting, what does it mean? And that in itself sets up so much more excitement and thought. I want to tune in to Dynamite next week because I'm
yes,
what's going to happen?
And you know what's mad? Right. I'm curious how you feel about this, and apologies to the internet world, the internet community, because they've been speculating about this for days. But a lot of people are already down on it. Bringing back a 62-year-old man. And everyone calls WWE for bringing back Goldberg, and I'm confident right now that AEW haven't brought Sting back to win the top belt and ruin someone's fucking career, which is what WWE did with Goldberg. I'm confident he's come back. I'm not even sure he's going to wrestle. And you can speculate he might have a match, maybe. But I'm not even sure he's going to wrestle. I don't know if he's just back to sort of pass the torch in a lot of ways. And I sincerely hope that's the case. And I think, despite the fact that I've been very sort of wary of the amount of legends that AEW are bringing back, I can't fault them that they bring them back in the right way. They bring them back to help push new talent, and they don't shove them down your throat. Okay, we've seen Diamond Dallas Page in a match, but that guy's freakishly in shape for his age as well. All that yoga, sure, it helped him. So I don't know. I'm not worried. I'll be honest. And a lot of people are oh yeah, I don't want to see a 62-year-old Sting in a match. I'm not. I don't think AEW. They may have some spots here and there. I don't think they're going to go full on match. Some people even want Jericho versus Sting. I'm not, but I just want him around. That's going to be awesome enough. Same way that we see the Snake, awesome enough.
I think I'm sort of in the middle ground of what you said. I think, AW have put him on their active roster list with win-loss records of 0-0. So that does indicate that he is potentially going to wrestle for the company. I don't think he will go for any kind of title whatsoever. I don't think he'll be in the title scene. Do I think we might get him and Jericho? Yes. I do think we'll see him wrestle.
Yeah. I mean, there's already fake posters going around of that, so.
Yeah.
People want it.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, Dynamite this week's going to be fucking mental. Like, it is. Because we've got Sting talking. We've got Shaq showing up. We've got loads of shit going on, right? But
and they just really fuck with us and Shaq takes on Sting.
I imagine. But no, Sting has signed a multi-year deal. So I can see him definitely wrestling a couple of matches. I don't think it's going to be like every week on Dynamite. He's going to I think there'll be at 1 or 2 pay-per-views over the next 2 or 3 years. He will wrestle. I think one of them will be Jericho. One of them might be Darby Allin, down the line.
I think as long as it's done, I don't even care who wins the Jericho Sting one. It'd be nice to see. But what I don't want, and I don't think AEW would ever do, is have him go up against Darby Allin and win and just ruin Darby Allin's momentum. No. I don't think they'd do that.
No, definitely. I think that could be his last one, and that could be like a passing of the torch. And what a passing of the torch that will be to someone like Darby Allin.
Darby Allin starts painting his whole face.
Imagine. But I think Sting went to WWE and he had Triple H, Seth Rollins, and just a load of shit that he had to contend with. And I don't know. I feel
we all fucking wanted. We never got. Sadly, he was take a Sting.
Well, exactly. Even in a cinematic match, the best way he could have done that match in this pandemic. But yeah, we never got it. But I don't know. I don't believe Sting was happy with his WWE run and the way he went out. And he said. I think he's super happy with the fact that he got to wrestle for WWE. That was probably always his goal. But he was such a
thing, innit? Yeah.
WCW loyalist. He wouldn't do it. And then he finally made it happen. And he was going to retire there. But then now AEW's come on and said, well, we agree your WWE run was a bit shit. Let's end it the right way in AEW. And he's gone, do you know what? Fucking hell, yeah, let's do it. So fair play to the guy. But yeah. Holy shit.
It's the closest he'll get to being home. People like to joke it's AEWCW, and they're on the old home of WCW. They echo a lot of the retro mentality. So okay, fuck it, fine. And if that's the closest Sting's going to get to WCW, then brilliant. Yeah, let's have him back.
I just feel like, where Brandy brought out that T-shirt, and it was cool, whatever. But those 3 things. I feel like you've got your own one now. I was like, okay, fuck it, fine. That is a T-shirt.
Carl, I need you to make me that shirt. Can you make me that shirt?
Okay, fuck it, fine.
I must do that a fair bit actually. But if you could make that as a shirt for me, I would love that. That would be awesome.
It's going to wing your way. Wing its way to you for Christmas, and to everybody listening. You can get it on a2thek.co.uk. That's right, a2thek.co.uk.
And you think to yourself, should I buy this for Christmas? Just think, okay, fuck it. Sorry.
I like it.
And maybe like a cartoon of you and me on there. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool if only there was a cartoon of us somewhere. Maybe we should make that happen.
As you probably gather, the people listening, Carl's our design guy. I just go, I want to see like a centaur punching Darby Allin, and he's like, okay, I'll try and make something. I
don't make me do that, please.
Sorry, I don't even know where that come from. I have no artistic skill at all, so I'm just kind of like, Carl, I think we should do this, and then Carl will make it happen, and then I don't even know where that is now, whether you can find it on social media, but the Hangman T-shirt was a particular example. There was a baby of an idea there, and then Carl made it happen, and then Hangman ignored me. Well, ignored you. Yeah. Ignored all of us, really.
Yeah, all of us.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
I know, but now I'm really upset. Fuck you, Hangman.
Hangman. He's joined the Dark Order anyway. The Dark Order, more like.
Hey, that's a shit. See, I might design shit, but this guy brings the fucking goods. I tell you, week on week, This guy, the dork order. Love it. So, Anthony, the final highlight.
All right, if you want to have a real pop, right, have Retribution on the shirt. We'll call it the Dark Order. Fuck them.
How does that work?
What?
How does that work? Have Retribution, but call it the Dark Order?
Because Retribution are dorks.
Yeah, but like, how do I do that?
Oh.
Doesn't make any sense.
I'll have the characters
Makes
from
sense.
Retribution, so it's clear it's Retribution.
Oh, okay. There you go.
We'll call them the Dark Order.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, got it. I'll make it happen.
Sorry, guys. Let's stop the planning phase and get back to the week in wrestling.
So the final highlight was actually the main event. And just when you thought, Anthony, that you couldn't top bringing back Sting.
It's like, oh, this main event's going to be totally rubbish after that.
Like, what a main event it was. Like, we always knew it was going to be a fucking epic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Omega, Moxley, the two best wrestlers in the world, according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And yeah, fantastic. Like, such a good contest. It wasn't hardcore heavy. I've got one shite about it, but not enough to call it an shite. But the match itself was fucking awesome. It was so good. And the biggest twist, and I think you sent me a meme. Like, can you remember what it was? It was
I've
like
sent more than one.
It was like Montreal Screwjob or the.
Oh yeah, yeah. It had the Montreal Screwjob and the Jacksonville Screwjob, and one was labeled like Amazon, and one was labeled Wish.
Amazing. So in hindsight, that was a bit, it's so true, but at the same time,
the joke's at its expense. To be fair.
Well, exactly. Like, watching it, at the time, it was a big thing. So obviously, Don Callis was on commentary, because he's Omega's personal friend, and he comes down, gets involved, and eventually ends up like the microphone he's trying to talk from, and this is where my shite lies. It was an overproduction in terms of the injury angle. So he threw him into a speaker. What is it about fucking wrestling companies with speakers this week? But he threw him into a speaker.
Speakers are so dangerous.
And, well, yeah, apparently so. And Omega was done. He was like dead. And it was like Callis came down to check on him. He was like, really? He's like being hit into a speaker lightly. Like, what the fuck?
These things are actually quite fragile. Look.
I know. So Callis came down, and then Moxley like punched him in the face, and the microphone ended up falling into the ring. Omega used it on Moxley, took him out, hit so many. What's it called? What's the finish called?
One-winged angel.
One-winged angel.
I don't know.
Yeah, hit several finishes anyway. Several V triggers, several. I think it was several V triggers and one finish. The Winged Angel, whatever it's called. And then ended up picking up the win. And Omega was the new champion. It was like shenanigans. And then the big thing that happened was Omega and Callis got out to dodge. They fucking ran away. And they ran past Tony, and Tony's like, "What's happening?" With a big cheesy grin on his face, which is why he's not on telly, because he
Tony
can't act for fuck. But so Omega and Callis ran away from the show, and then just as they're getting into the car at the end, the interviewer chases them out, and he's like, "What's happened?" And he's like, "You can hear all about it on Tuesday." And he's like, "Tuesday? Dynamite's on Wednesday." He's like, "No, Tuesday on Impact." And it's like, what?
You know what? That's the cheesiest bit. I was like, "But Dynamite's on Wednesday." That's like Forrest Gump level fucking stupid comment to make that. But Lieutenant Dan, you haven't got legs. I'm like, yeah. But you gotta have a bit of cheese in there, I suppose.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know. I thought it worked definitely, but it was definitely cheesy. But yeah, I thought. What a way to end the show.
This is the thing. Like, this is like some people, again, negative bastards on the interweb. But I'm like, you know what? This is crazy. How often do you see shit like this going on? AEW have made a massive effort to work with other companies to this kind of level. And then you look at it and go, okay, ultimately this means like we'll see Omega have a couple of matches in Impact. We might see the Good Brothers come along. Why do I keep messing their name up? The Good Brothers come along and go up against the Bucks or whatever like that. It opens opportunity, but it's not going to be like a, TNAEW or anything like that. But I don't know. I love the fact that they're doing this kind of work. I love the fact that like you just don't know what's going to happen in that sense. Like they're bringing the sort of the smaller companies together, and I fucking love it. I don't think you can get any better than it.
I mean, like for us, we never lived through the territories. Like
Yeah.
we knew WWF, that was the big fry. And I don't know, I feel like this must be like what it was like to be a fan of wrestling way back when and hear about
You just see people rock up.
stars in this other company, like, oh, well, in, fucking this company you got Ric Flair, in this company you got Dusty Rhodes, in this company you got Jerry Lawler. And like, you hear about all these big guys in these other territories, and then to get to see them come together feels like a dream match because, I never thought they would ever face each other. And it's like, that's what they're going for. Like, you mentioned the Good Brothers coming to AEW. That'd be amazing. The women's roster in AEW is...
Do you know what? TNA's women's roster is actually really good.
Well, exactly,
like,
yeah.
That is going to be a fucking massive boom for AEW if they can get a bit of work going there.
And, it's something that AEW have said, and it's no, it's no massive disrespect to the women's roster. It's just if you compare it to, especially in terms of depth, to the likes of NWA, to the likes of TNA, WWE, it's lower caliber.
The reality of it is for AEW, they knew what their mistake was. It wasn't a mistake. You couldn't have predicted what was going to happen, but they knew what the problem was there because a lot of their women's veterans were coming from Japan.
Yeah.
So COVID hits and they're fucked. They've got all these younger talents who aren't as experienced and a smaller roster all of a sudden as well. They knew what had happened. It's just unfortunate, but the Knockouts division is actually really quite good in TNA. So that hopefully will give them a really good fucking shot in the arm.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you mentioned before, like, is this a fifth show we have to watch? Like, I'm going to have to check the results tomorrow. Like, because...
No, just TNA this week. If nothing else, I need to know what happens.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what AEW has done for TNA. We're now tuning in.
100%. TNA has been, kind of an afterthought for a while. They had a really good run where they tried to compete a while ago with the WWE and stuff, and they had some really hard times. And then, they've been doing some good stuff lately, but people aren't watching it. So to have this kind of relationship with AEW, and it's like,
get eyes
we
back
brought Omega to the fucking show. Like, imagine Kenny Omega in TNA years ago. Like, if anyone ever said that, they'd be like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
AEW happened, and then it was like, nah, fuck that. And then it's happened, so mad.
It's unreal. Unreal, man.
Mad.
So, and I still have my dream of Tama Tonga turning up in WWE because WWE have reacted to this, haven't they? They've made a comment about being open for business. Like, they'll happily work with other companies. It just doesn't happen, which is fucking stupid. I've seen people try and compare this as well and go like, yeah, do you remember that time Triple H turned up at some small Irish promotion with Finn Balor or whatever? Oh, no, was it with Drew? I can't remember. He was in. He turned up at a smaller promotion.
Oh shit! What's it called? ICW, wasn't it?
Was it ICW? I recall the story, and it's like, no offense to
it was a Scottish one.
No offense to that promotion, but like, it's not the same. Like, they did that because WWE have nothing to worry about. Like, arguably, AEW's happily and quite willingly working with their own competition here to make something special, which is interesting.
Yeah, because they know they are the biggest fish. So
exactly,
people aren't going to go, oh, wow, now that I've seen TNA, I'm going to watch them over.
Defect.
You know what I mean? If anything, they're just like, I want to see Kenny Omega on Impact to see what's happening.
But like, for a promotion that's not even been around 2 years to be doing stuff like this type of shit WWE should be doing because they've nothing to fear from anybody.
Yeah.
But here we are. Yeah, fucking mind blow, man. Looking forward to the future.
So in terms of the O'Shites, there's not many. I think there's only two. So the first one I want to call out is the whole Acclaimed Bucks TH2 segment. It was bad, man. There was like a weird rap thing that like reminded me of John Cena, but really like poorly done. There was this, I don't know. It just...
So John Cena then?
Well, yeah, kind of. It was a poorly done John Cena, which is a really poorly done John Cena. But I don't know. I just think, Young Bucks won the belts and, great for them. And then since that, and probably prior to that, they've just been a bit meh. And, they put over a couple of talents since then. But I don't know. I just thought this whole segment with the Acclaimed didn't land for me. It was like, oh, we're going to cut some promo, but it felt worse than the Street Profits to me. And if I'm going to chat shit about the Street Profits, I've got to chat shit about these guys. Like,
That's fair.
It was bad.
That's fair.
So that was bad. And the
Yeah,
final
I get
one.
that. The final one.
And it's not really a no shite like specific. It's more of a wider thing. But and this is what impacts my rating significantly for the show is the quality of the matches was shit. You know, prior, like other than the main event, the actual quality of the matches were bad. The storytelling, excellent.
Yeah, very good.
I can't fault that. We had Sting, we had the whole Kenny thing, like amazing, good show. But I don't know, the match quality was just all like if they managed to mesh together fantastic matches with these stories, it would have been awesome. But it just didn't deliver. The story was better than the matches this week, and I felt like, I don't know, Jericho Kaz went on far too long for a match that was ultimately pointless because the whole reason the match took place was to set up the whole Inner Circle storyline for the next week. You know, Baker Hirsch was average at best. You know, it wasn't good, but obviously it was Thunder that brought that up another level. And so yeah, I don't know. I just thought a bit of a shame really because the match quality was kind of piss poor, which was a shame. But you know, all in all, show great. We had Sting debut, we had the Battle Royal, we had the finish in the main event. So for me, it gets a 3.5, and the reason it gets a 3.5 and nothing higher is for the match quality. So I am keen, Anthony, to hear.
I think that is a fair critique, Carl, in terms of the match quality. Right, I'm not going to argue with that at all. However, I am going to give it a 4.
What the
because
fuck?
I fucking loved it.
It happened.
Right,
It has actually
and
happened.
This is like Thunder. Never a bad day when Thunder's about, right? Sting, fucking brilliant. Yeah, anytime you get to see the Stinger, awesome, right? And then this whole fucking twist with the main event, which I think is going to lead to something fucking brilliant. Those 3 reasons alone, I'm like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. And that's not even mentioning the Battle Royal, which again, as chaotic as they can be, they're always worth a watch. Do you know what I mean? There was some good storytelling all around. I can't argue with you at all in terms of the quality of some of the matches on there. Main event in particular was really good, but like you say, the rest were not as good as we've seen. But no, I can't not give it a 4. What a week this was.
History in the making. 2020, folks. Anthony has
thought?
given a
thought
higher
it'd
rating
happen
for
in year
Dynamite
one?
than I have. Wow. Amazing.
But no, I couldn't not, man. What a week. What a week.
Great week.
Now, are we going to give a rating to Impact next week, or are we just going to mention it during Dynamite?
I think we're going to have to mention it. I can't, I don't even want to start the precedent. No,
Yeah.
can't happen.
Can't do it. We'll just do TNA AEW.
TNAW.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? Like, yeah. Even if they bought them out, that'd be cool. I don't want them to buy them out because that was kind of the downfall with WWE. It's like, I'll just buy the competition, and then there's no competition, so I'll never be checked if I'm doing bad, stupid things. I think the competition's necessary. But
Same.
I love the working relationships. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And they need to sort something out with New Japan, and then we'll just, yes, everything's a win.
I mean, I think if that happens, you know, WWE are potentially gonna take a hit because you've got.
I saw a meme like that, which was using Game of Thrones. Like, so Jon Snow was WWE, and then everyone who was stabbing him was like different smaller companies or something like that. It was quite funny.
Amazing.
I should have sent you it. But like you say, like that's where AEW by themselves might not be the competition for WWE right now, but bringing everyone together to make something different and awesome like that could be a legit rival.
Oh yeah,
a worrying rival, you might say.
Anyway. Speaking of non-worrying rivals,
speaking of worrying, let's talk about SmackDown. So, as far as the card goes, Carl, we open the night, as we like to do, with a nice little promo from Roman Reigns, sort of, kind of. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but essentially setting up for matches. We then have our first match of the night, which is Natalya going up against Bayley, with Natalya taking the win, Carl.
Mm.
I know that feels a bit off in itself. No offense to Talia, but
Yeah.
that's not what they do with you normally. We then had a 6-man tag match of Mysterio, Daniel Bryan, and Big E going up against Zayn, Nakamura, and Ziggler, with Mysterio, Bryan, and Big E taking the win. And I'm going to try my best not to rag on that match too much, and there's a reason for that. We then have the war of words between Carmella and Sasha Banks. Okay. We then had Murphy. Oh, fucking hell. I'm ruined it already.
Perfect.
We had Murph Stereo. Nah, we had Murphy versus Corbin 2.
This time it's even more boring. Yeah.
And Corbin took the win. So he got his own back. But hopefully this feud continues because I'm on the edge of my... No, I'm not. And then we end with Owens and Otis going up against Roman and Jay. Okay. With Roman and Jay taking the win. No one took the win. It was a fucking DQ because we're going to have a DQ
Ah,
every show.
fucking DQs.
There's a DQ in every fucking show this week. Like, what's that about? I know they like the
Fucking
DQs, but
love
that's
a
insane.
DQ. They
They love a
fucking love
DQ.
it.
It's crazy. So, that being said, I will compliment it shortly. So we'll talk about the highlights, Carl. And we'll talk about the promo at the beginning of the match. You know what? The beginning of the match, beginning of the night. Yeah, I'm still totally on board. Roman and Jay, and his whole dynamic and his whole heel turn and the way he treats Jay, everything's working so wonderfully. And you know what? I'll give them credit. KO come out. He's sort of been involved in this promo. He said, like, again, he's done wonders for selling something that has been, what, like 2 weeks old? We're heading to a pay-per-view match that's him and Roman. And this, to me, proves that you don't need months and months and months to tell a story all the time. Sometimes it's good to have that length of time to tell a story, but they've managed to tell the story quite quickly. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's working really well, especially where the rest of the night pans out, because actually Jay volunteers Roman for a match against KO, so Roman didn't get to do it himself. That caused a little bit of animosity, and you know what? It all worked really well. I thoroughly enjoyed this promo. What did you make of it, Carl?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, then. I'll just
Shut up.
deflate.
You're taking away from the point. No, I don't know. I think I am very big on Roman as a heel. I don't know. I feel like this has been done before, where Jay is taking it on himself to do something, and Roman's not happy about it. And so I'm just a bit worried that it's starting to become a bit tried already.
All right, I don't want to spoil the finish. Fuck it, we'll spoil the finish, right? Because it's in here anyway. I just won't talk about it. So I was with you at the promo at the beginning of the night. But then when we get to the end of the night and Roman actually lays into Jay for what he did, I was like, okay, this is that. He's losing that sort of calmer edge where he's like calculated and a hint of menacing, but trying to be friendly and like your family, and then giving him dirty looks. This was like a fucking beating. And I was like, okay, I like the slowly developing this sort of this horrible sort of dynamic between the two of them, where he's like he's abusive. It's an abusive relationship. Do you know what I mean? It's compelling for all the wrong reasons, I suppose. But I don't know, the way they ended the night and the way they controlled the tag match, and the fact that Roman didn't participate in the tag match until fairly late on as a punishment to Jay, and then still proceeded to punish him anyway. I don't know. I think I like what they're doing because it's not just doing the same thing again. They're actually building on it as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. You're still not sold. Whatever.
No. I mean, I'm not massively sold, no, but, I get it. I don't know. I just felt a bit like I've seen it done maybe one too many times. So I don't want to shit on it because Roman is phenomenal as a heel character. I think it's more I'm getting a bit tired of the whole Uso thing already. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get it. And we'll see where they go. Hopefully it doesn't carry on too long, because I think this was fairly conclusive, him attacking him. But he'll stick around for a bit because, they need to finish the story off. But I think this is the start of the end for their little family feud. So we'll see.
Steve Harvey appearing next week.
So this isn't really a highlight. It's just something I wanted to mention as a talking point, and that is, could we be seeing the start of a gimmick change for Big E? And do you like it? Because they were echoing back to the Big E Langston days when he had the chalk coming out.
Well, he's got new theme music. He's got some chalk. Maybe.
I mean, he's still dressing like a New Day. But yeah, I mean, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a good move to sort of echo back to days when he was less popular?
I think it's a good move to step him on away from New Day, because if he's not with them anymore, I mean, that's been my biggest criticism, is like, we split them up and then every opportunity is like, now they're in Gears of War together as the three. Now he's supporting them here. They're doing this there. And it's like, I split them up if that's what you're going to do. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so this is almost like them going, no, we are having a solo run for Big E.
Yeah, and I feel like
happen.
If it's going to happen, then sound, Big E can, do that. But yeah,
And the best thing they can do with Big E going into a solo run and they're showing his new theme music and they're doing the chalk and they're showing that he's his own character in his own right and he's not going to be part of a tag team anymore. They put him in a 6-man tag match.
Yeah.
If
only he'd had experience in that kind of match before.
So again, it's sort of a highlight, but it was more of a talking point that I'm intrigued. Let's hope they are like pulling the trigger on a decent solo run for Big E, because you know what, he could be an IC contender at some point. Let's be honest. I don't think he's world title ready, but he's new into the solo run, isn't he? So we'll see. I'm trying to give credit where credit's due, and this is only because of what I've read afterwards, if I'm being completely honest. But the 6-man tag match itself, and it wasn't a bad match by any means, but apparently this was their efforts to pay tribute to Pat, especially in the way they finished it. So I want to give it a highlight because of the thought they put into the match, but simultaneously, and I'll mention it now, the people involved in the match kind of was a no shite for me, because I don't get it. Like, you look at the opponents, you had one half of Ziggler and Rude, one half of Cesaro and Shinsuke. Why? Like, why have we had like individual components from other tag teams involved together? I don't get why they put these people together, and maybe there's something to that I'm not seeing. But I was initially, without knowing the effort they tried to put in, it was an okay match, but I was like, why these people? Why these 6? It doesn't make any sense to me. But all in all, I'll give it the credit for the effort they tried to put in to pay tribute to Pat. Yeah. And that was that. Yeah. Did you enjoy the match?
Nodding, I'm agreeing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I also don't really understand the whole setup of the match, but if it was to honor Pat, then there must be something there to
maybe that was why they wanted to be in the match. Like, maybe that's why we ended up with sort of a random 6, because they were like, oh, we really want to do that. I don't know. We're not on them yet. The next highlight, Carl. The next highlight, and I might come under fire for this, right? Carmella cut a really good promo. No, I don't know how you feel about it. I'm intrigued to know how you feel about it. But she cut this, like, well, it was kind of like a weird sort of separate rooms video chat kind of bollocks. Like, who does that? It's fucking stupid. Anyway, but she was essentially sort of, I don't know, I just enjoyed the way they did it, because it wasn't just a random, like, I'm going to beat you and I don't like you and all this bollocks that they do when it's like heel with no real motive. She's basically like coming at Sasha like, yeah, you don't like me because you've wanted this all your life, and I've sort of come in off like Princess of Staten Island, come along, and I'm better than you. Like, I didn't love the business, didn't come from the business, didn't want to be in the business all my life. I'm not the same as you, but I'm better than you, and you hate that and you're jealous of that and that kind of thing. And I was like, that's actually a pretty good promo she's cut there. It's a pretty good way of aggravating Sasha. I can't knock her. That was some good heel work.
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole setup, like the last few weeks, has been a bit, okay, she's going to like turn up and do like a little fucking X Factor move or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I was particularly aggrieved. Like, I was like, changing your outfit is not a gimmick change. Otherwise, people would be gimmick changing left and right. Rey Mysterio gimmick changes every week if you're looking at it like that, right? So I was pissed off anyway when they unveiled it was Carmella and nothing had changed. But fair play if they're going to push it into a decent sort of feud, and she's going to carry on work like this, then yeah, I'm all for it. Why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, credit to her. Credit to her. Weirdly, Carl, and again, don't know if you agree with this or not. Sasha, I would argue, is actually the weaker component of this debate between the two of them.
Yeah, I don't really know what it was. She didn't seem to be firing that week. It was a bit like...
She was just like, fuck you, I'm going to go start a Mandalorian anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't, yeah. I mean, I think I agree. I would say Carmella was probably the standout.
Exactly.
Mm.
And, we're on SmackDown. I didn't think I'd be saying that. Here we are. Fair play to you, Carmella. And if you want to come on the show and talk about the awesome work you did on that promo, by all means, contact us. Anyway, next highlight, Carl. And this is just, like, we kind of mentioned this before, but Cutler and Blake, I'm actually quite glad to see them back. I think they deserve it. The talented lads. They didn't do a lot. They're part of some sort of faction with Corbin, so that might not be the best shout. Although, the fact that they kept the Mysterios at bay is a good thing. That we need people to keep the Mysterios at bay, Carl. There's way too many of them now, right? But and this will potentially lead to a 3-on-3. Let's be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's nice that they're getting a chance to do something else outside of the whole. I think it'd be really difficult now to do the Forgotten Sons thing, especially with the issues they had with Riker and that. So let's see where it goes. It's good to see them back. They're talented guys. Okay. You're not.
I think for me, these have got more of a chance of being future endeavored than Riker at this point.
Really?
Because they've basically come up as Corbin's weird little hooded henchman. It's like, that's not going to go anywhere.
Kingsman, Carl. Kingsman.
Henchman.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't have anything going for it. Whereas at least Riker's come in and like, I'm going to have a tag team with Elias. And Elias, you can say like what you want about him in terms of his character and his gimmick, but I can't see them binning off Elias, especially after coming off a fucking music like album,
Yeah, and it's done
like,
quite well in the States by all accounts as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I if anything, Riker's probably got a better chance, I think, than them two. I don't see how Corbin needs these guys, and they've gone from being something to just some guys in weird hoodies. It's like Retribution-esque.
Well,
not a fan.
You certainly put a fucking damper on that. I jest, of course. And I already touched on my last highlight, Carl, is the way they finished the show, the way they built Roman up in this match that he didn't participate, so it ended up being a handicap match, and then he did join in when he thought that the match was won, and the ultimate sort of beatdown he gave, well, basically everyone. But I'm hyped for the match between him and KO. I really enjoyed the work they've been doing so far, and I don't suppose we need to talk more on it because you've offered your concerns in that sense. But what did you make of the main event? Did you enjoy the match itself? Other than the Otis component, obviously, because who the fuck wants that?
well, yeah, I don't know. It was okay.
Yeah,
it was nothing special, was it?
Match wise, no. Story wise, I think it did a good job.
Yeah.
And I've only got the 1-0 shite, Carl, and I kind of mentioned it before, and that was the man tag. And I'll try and give one. It was kind of a nothing to me, really, but the Natalia match, and I only mention it. I'm trying to grasp it. Oh shite! So we still got more to talk about, basically. But it's not often you see Natalia win a match. Sadly, they don't book her to win anymore. And to be honest, Bayley's one of the bigger names in the company, so it seemed logical she was going to win. And the only reason she lost was through shenanigans. So we'll give that a little bit of an outshine of going, oh, Bianca Belair put her off. Yeah, let's have some shenanigans instead of a match. And that is it's a very low gripe because, arguably they're building up Bianca. She came out, she done a bit of talking on commentary. She's trying to build herself up. on SmackDown, so it kind of makes sense. But I don't know. She gets a bit of a bad run, Natalia, doesn't she? The stuff they're trying to put on her gimmick-wise, the way she is just booked to lose whenever they need someone to lose.
Yeah, she's a bit of an anomaly, I would say. She's been around for so long, and I don't know, just doesn't really seem to do that much anymore. She had the weird thing with Lana for no reason.
Weird. Do you know what? I can live with the Lana thing. The thing before it where she threw tantrums. I'm glad they squashed that as quick as they fucking did. I mean, that was weird.
There's no one in who you can say has had a weird farting gimmick, had a weird tantrum gimmick, has had a weird frenemy gimmick, and now has had a whatever the fuck this is. So
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I honestly at this point I think it'd be nice to see her have another good run. I don't know how they book it, whether it be like another, like maybe it's a bit overdone, sort of doing new Heart Foundation or Heart Foundation 2.0 or another variant of the Heart Foundation in some way, but that might be a bit overdone at this point. But just something to build her back up as like a legitimate threat in the women's division. Even if it's just one more solid run and then she can go back to jobbing for a while, I don't know. But I just feel like she kind of, I think we touched on this the other week where you were like, she might have been a victim of the sort of the era that she was in that sense, like, because I don't know, like she doesn't seem to have hit that sort of memorable point where she's had a really solid run for me. And I think we did talk about that the other week, and it is a shame. It's part of a dynasty. She's actually really good in the ring. Yeah, doesn't I suppose get the credit she deserves in some senses.
No, defo. Like it would be great, I think, for her to, because I don't know, like how many more years has she got left now? She's been in the business for ages.
That's the thing. So, like, what are we going on? 10 years easy? Yeah,
like gotta be. So I don't know. I think I would love to see her win the belt before she goes, and I don't know, do something nice in kind of that sense. But I can't see it the way it's been lately, which would be a massive shame.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll mention that as a bit of an O-shot. I particularly agreed with the match, and Natalia did get the win from the match. It was just like on the back of the distraction rather than a legit win. And I don't think I've seen her legitimately win a match in a long time, which is a bit of a shame. So all in all, Carl, I'll give this a 2.5. I give Raw a 2, and this was slightly better. That's the main reason.
See, I'm giving it a 2, but that's because I gave Raw a 1. So I was like, am I going to beat you in any of the scores? But you've actually beat me, like, in terms of rating, like, the whole way through. So, fair play. Anthony loves wrestling.
That's damn right.
This week, Anthony loves wrestling.
It's a Carl over there who hates everything.
I hate it all. It's not real to me anymore, damn it.
Monopoly Events presents For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, back in Liverpool, the Exhibition Centre, between the 15th and 16th of May. Guests this year include Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, the Icon, the Showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels, 3-time WWE champion, 3-time TNA champion. Things are about to get extreme with Jeff Hardy. 7 times Women's Champion, Diva of the Decade and Hall of Fame star Trish Stratus. Grand Slam winner and the Wrestling God, John Bradshaw Layfield. These and many, many more will be joining us in Liverpool. Find us on Facebook at For the Love of Wrestling. Visit our website, fortheloveofwrestling.co.uk. For tickets for entry and guests, visit ticketquarter.co.uk. That's ticketquarter.co.uk. For the Love of Wrestling, by the fans, for the fans.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa and you're watching or listening A to the K.